Beyond the sea bag. What is beyond the sea bag? Sometimes people piss you off and it's like, man, I want to get this motherfucker a blanket party.
A lot of these things are going to be really shitty. So, and that's the truth about these programs. Nobody wants to talk to you anymore. Your family don't want to talk to you. They're scared of you. But you guys kind of fucked me. So I'm pretty pissed off right now. I'm not a doctor. I ain't gonna freaking go over diagnoses and bullshit like that. I'm just gonna tell you, the stuff I'm going through. I'm gonna say something stupid, because that is stupid. That would not have ended well. So I think I'm gonna start doing is sweating my ass off in a sleeping bag and having nightmares and shit. He's a pretty lazy dog, very lazy actually, and he's got a lot of quirks. If you haven't started the process already of getting a counselor, getting in there, psych, do that.
Welcome to Beyond the Sea Bag. This episode is going to be Children of PTSD. This will be the first episode where I actually have guests, the guests being my daughter and son. So they are going to be telling their experiences about growing up and how any of the PTSD that I had while they were growing up affected them. I am not going to tell them what to say. I'll probably give them a few questions that I'm going to ask just so they're not sideswiped by anything. I've got a list of stuff that I want to talk about, but it's basically about their experiences and how they grew up with it. So like I said, I'm not telling them what to say. This is totally on them, and whatever they say, they're going to say. So it's going to be kind of an eye-opening experience for me, depending on what they say, I guess, right? I hope I did the right things when they were growing up. I know all fathers, all good fathers anyway, or they try to be good fathers, are always worried about the lessons they taught their kids, and hopefully they listen. Was it good advice? Was it bad advice? We're going to find all that out right now, and this is for me too. So like I said, I do this podcast for all my veteran brothers and sisters out there, but this also helps me as well too. So this is the first time I've ever asked my kids about this sort of stuff, so I'm not sure what's going to come out. But it's all about moving forward and healing, I guess, if there's any healing to be done. So, all right, let's get into it. All right, this is Dave with Beyond the Sea Bag. I have my son Zach here, and like with Rebecca, I have not told him what to say. He can come up with his own answers and speak for himself. So first question I started with Rebecca was, when you were growing up, did you notice anything different about our family or the way that you grew up than from other families that you went to school with and your friends and that kind of thing?
Different in what sense?
That's exactly what Rebecca said. Just different as far as the way. Well, both your mother and I were veterans, so was there any difference in the upbringing that you've seen? Maybe you heard from your friends what their parents would do for discipline or punishments, or the way they planned out things, that kind of stuff.
It's not much that I could really think of specifically that would be that much different. It wasn't entirely different than most people.
All right. At a young age, you were taken to a bunch of martial arts training. Do you remember all that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You had a habit of getting in trouble a lot over at pretty much everywhere that we went to. Do you now you did get involved with the martial arts for a little while, off and on. But do you think that helped you in any way during the course of growing up?
I think there could be some aspects that would have helped, but a lot of it was stuff that I didn't see practical that I would use in the real world. But some of them, some specific aspects of it I retain.
What about now looking back on it?
I think it's really dependent on the person. I think that if you like if you want to train for that type of stuff, it could help you depending on what situations you might find yourself in. But
I know you like the one-on-one stuff instead of the formal training. I remember you used to always get mad about going in and doing katas and stuff like that, and
yeah, the katas were useless. They were useless.
yeah. So, but I remember you asking me a lot of times, why can't you just teach me instead of going to classes? You remember all that, or?
Yeah, I suppose if it was like that, then yeah, class. I don't think that martial arts is inherently bad, but I think that um, sometimes it'll teach you stuff that, like, when you're learning 100 different things, you're not gonna remember every single one of them,
Right,
unless
right.
you do it like 100 times over, which you do. But you like consistently do it, and like what, every week or so, twice a week.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as like the discipline and the doing something via a schedule, I guess, being consistent at it. Did that? I know you gave me you gave me a run for my money when we went trying to take you to these things. So a lot of times you bucked everything about that. So, but
What, like structure?
yeah, I guess that's what I want to say. Yeah.
I don't know. I've always just like making my own structure, like a more individualistic type of person. I don't know. I, what's the question you're trying to ask?
Basically, that by going to martial arts, kind of being forced to go to martial arts, did that help out in any way part of your life?
Well, yeah, like I said before, in some aspects it did, but the scenarios where I'd actually have to use that knowledge, they didn't happen. And then when they did happen, I was not prepared for it, because you can train all day in a structured environment, but then when you're actually faced with the real deal, it's going to be a completely different set of circumstances.
Right. I get that, and that's the way I teach now as well too. Well, not now. I've always taught like that, but you have to learn the basics before you, right,
Yeah.
ride the bike. All right. One of the things that I brought up with Rebecca was the term transference, and transference is any of the problems or PTSD that I was going through. Did that transfer over? So in some circumstances, it can transfer over to the children, right? Like as far as hypervigilance and security and talking about all the bad things that can happen, being kind of paranoid. So did that kind of thing transfer over? I know you must have saw some of the stuff about security and me into, I don't know if your mom did this as well too, but the whole, I guess it is paranoia, right? So did that transfer over to you in any way, shape, or form?
You're talking about paranoia specifically?
Pretty much, yeah. Well, security related stuff, making sure everything's locked up. I mean, you see around here the security systems that I have in place as well too. Most people don't do the things a lot of vets do that have PTSD. I don't want to say normal people, but that's basically what it is. Or people that, I think veterans look at these people like people that are just oblivious to what's going on around them, I guess, and not concerned about security. So did any of that, not trusting people, being hypervigilant, concerned about who you're around. I know every parent should be concerned about who their kids are around, but did that go overboard?
I think with that question specifically, I think that, like, if you're talking about paranoia and like what you just mentioned, it I think a lot of that specifically did transfer over, probably to my detriment. It's not very good to be paranoid and vigilant all the time, but I mean, it could help for like the 0.1% chance you're going to be in like some crazy scenario, right? But being paranoid all the time takes a toll on your mental health,
Right.
which I've like lately seen myself spiraling in different types of paranoia, which I'm trying to like become aware of because I want to fix it, because I don't want to be consumed by it.
Right. And that's what we mean by, or what I mean by hypervigilance, right? So you're vigilant. There's a point where you can be vigilant, but then there's the overboard aspect of it that goes into hypervigilance, which means
I think you're hypervigilant.
yeah. Well, a lot of vets are too, and yeah. Definitely. I put a lot of stuff in place in this place and the other, at any place that I go. I put a lot of stuff in place. I bring a lot of stuff with me, and it might be overboard, but just having that stuff around kind of lessens. Well, I guess it seems like it lessens, but it probably doesn't.
Yeah, if you're constantly paranoid, I don't know if it does. I mean, you can have a million different cameras and watch a million different cameras, and it might make you a little bit more paranoid.
So what do you think about all that stuff? Did that did affect you? In what ways did that affect you?
I can't say whether it's you specifically that brought that on me, or it's just the going through school and getting bullied and always watching my own back. I don't know exactly where it came from. I'm sure that you played some type of role in it, but I'm not quite sure. I've been trying to figure out the depths of my issues and where they come from.
Yeah, we go talk about bullying and stuff like that. That happened to me as well, and it was kind of almost like history was repeating itself when you were going through all that. And I don't know if I gave you the best advice back then, but I gave you the opposite advice of what my mom and dad gave me, and which I think I might have told you this along the way. They told me just to walk away from it and run away, which brought on even more problems. And I think I told you the complete opposite of that. Now, if somebody is bullying you, then go after them. But there was a whole bunch of times that I was going in and talking to the principals, and so that was kind of different. So
I think both perspectives might be inherently flawed in different ways, because walking away from problems is just some pussy shit. You shouldn't do that. But also, just like, if somebody says something mean about you, you have to react in a violent way. I think that if I could go back to middle school, which I try not to dwell in it because there's no point in regretting anything, but if I could go back, I would just want to have more of an indifference to any type of issues, and not give these people my attention, because there was no point of it.
Right.
They don't care about me today. I don't care about them.
Yeah.
But I mean, people bullying you are trying to seek some type of energy, attention from you, and if you give it to them in especially in violence, which being violent with people, it's only going to be a double-edged sword. It's going to hurt you too, no matter, even if you beat their ass for whatever reason.
Right. And I think that the advice that I gave you back then was to kick their ass.
Yeah.
And not, I don't know if I gave you any, well, just turn around and ask them, well, what do they want to do? Like, if they're coming after you, you turn around and say, well, what do you want to do? Where are you going with this? Why are you bullying me? They're, I don't know. I can't even come up with any good. See, it's either, walk away or beat the shit out of them. I didn't give you anything in between. Right, like talking things out. They call that verbal judo, I guess.
I'm not talking about talking things out. That would.
Well, not talking things out, but there's a whole lot in between walking away and beating the shit out of someone.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a whole lot in between.
Yeah, and the whole lot in between that is basically talking. Right.
Well, if you give them the attention to talk, I think that if they're actually like touching you or something, like, then okay, that's fine to be violent. But if they're just like making fun of you and hurting your ego, I think that in that sense maybe just walking away would be the best option. And just ignoring them, not feeding into their ego trap.
Right. Yeah, true. I asked Rebecca this, and this was, I don't want to say it was in reference to your mom, but do you see any OCD type things that was maybe transferred over from either of us? You know what OCD is, right?
You definitely have OCD.
Why do you say that?
Because you, like Rebecca said the same thing. You'll be very anal about like certain things. Like for example, the bathroom. I put a towel on the ground and you didn't want a towel on the ground.
Well, you left it there though too.
Yeah, but it's like a shower mat.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You'll like be or try to be very clean. Which I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I know your mom was like that as well too.
Mom's not clean.
She's not. We might have to edit that part out.
No, I tell her that.
Yeah.
She. I mean, I wasn't clean either for a certain amount of time, but then one day I just decided to become clean.
Yeah.
Which I don't
I think you and Rebecca traded that because at one point Rebecca was clean, and you had stuff stay. You weren't. It wasn't about being dirty. Neither of you are dirty. It's just I remember looking in your closets and stuff like that, and it was just piles of stuff, and your desk was piles of stuff. And then one day you just organized everything and started chucking stuff, and all of a sudden Rebecca went from organized to like hiding candy wrappers, underneath the bed and stuff like that, and just piles of stuff.
I started cleaning during COVID. That's when I changed my mindset on.
So, but yeah, sometimes I get into the non-OCD, like I don't give a shit type thing, but then it's been after Rebecca moved out, and I started trying to get things in order a little bit more. So
it would probably be easier without Rebecca's stuff all over the place.
Yeah. So, but all right. So here's one question. There's two philosophies of thinking when veterans have kids, because the kids are going to ask about the military service and everything like that. I did with my dad, and I know you asked me a lot more questions because you were definitely interested in the Civil War and that kind of stuff, and weapons, and I think World War II, World War I, or I can't remember which one it was. Yeah, so history and stuff like that. So you asked a lot of questions about that. Do you think it's better to, I don't know which one I did with you, is to tell you a lot of stuff or hardly anything? You know what I'm saying? So if you ask me questions about, say for instance, the part of the military service that I get deployed or something like that, and you ask stuff like, did he kill anybody? And I say, yeah, I killed 100 people and ripped out their guts, and explain the whole thing or the other end of that is yeah, well, we'll talk about that another day, and kind of shrug it off. So I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's basically two ways of dealing with questions like that. Tell them pretty much everything in graphic detail, or tell them pretty much kind of blow it off. Like I know a lot of vets do that with other people, but their kids, depends. I've heard different stories. I've heard people that say their dads never told them shit, never really liked to talk about it. And there's some dads that tell them some stuff. I think when you got older, I started to tell you more and more. Or after I kind of went to the PTSD programs, I think I might have told you more stuff. But what do you think about that?
You haven't really told me that much. I still don't understand you very much. I know that a lot of your problems came from your childhood, but in terms of your military service, I'm not. You don't really. You haven't told me much about it, so I don't know. I haven't been able to form an opinion on that.
All right. Well, what do you think is a good? Do you have an opinion about what parents should do, veterans should do, as a kid of a veteran? Would you have wanted more information or less information? Or well, you're saying that I didn't really give you any information. So, I mean, Did that make sense growing up, or would you have wanted more of that, or I don't know?
Like growing up.
Yeah.
Well, I think it could be important for a kid to understand their parents and why they are the way they are. So, yeah, of course, in that sense, yeah. I mean, but
At what point do you think, though, you were too young to even hear some of that stuff, though? That's the other thing, you know. I mean, you're in your 20s now,
yeah,
so
what stuff?
as opposed to, I don't know. Yeah, looking back, and I'm trying to figure out what I actually told you and what I didn't tell you, and I don't remember telling you hardly anything about some of the stuff that we did in the Marine Corps. I mean, I used to tell you like cool stuff about, you know, jumping out of helos and stuff like that, and I talked to you about spy rigging, and I think a couple times some of the cooler stuff that we did training wise, because that's kind of tame. Training's always kind of tame. I know you like to hear about you know, shooting the M60s and the saws and that kind of stuff. I think you asked me a couple times about some of the weapons that we used.
Yeah.
But as far as what we used them on or whatever, or what we did when we went out, you know, on live ops, yeah, I'm trying to. I thought I told you more, but now looking back on it, that I'm actually sitting here and talking to you about it, I don't think I did tell you anything.
No, I don't really know that much. I mean, you've told me like some things, but not really much in detail.
Yeah. Now, you were really into the Civil War. We recently did a episode on the Gettysburg excursion that we went to.
Excursion?
Excursion, yeah, whatever. So that was pretty cool. I like going out there too, and I think you've been talking about that for freaking years, going out there.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. It was
So-
pretty sick actually seeing that place.
Yeah.
I've known a lot about Gettysburg specifically because I've always been into the Civil War and history, so I've studied a lot about it.
All right. I think I brought this up in that episode. That remember you being in Cub Scouts, and you had to do some presentation or something like that, and you were talking about I don't know if it was a person or a rifle or something like that, and you were talking about something, and all the adults were. You started giving information on it. They asked a question, and you started giving information on it. I don't think they expected you to give that kind of.
It was a game of charades where I had to act out as somebody, and I just acted like somebody shooting a gun and expected everybody to know I'm some like no-name Civil War general that nobody ever heard of.
Yeah. Well, you went into the explanation on who it was as well too.
Yeah.
And everyone was kind of like, even adults were like, "Well, okay." Yeah, they would have never gotten the answer, but when you gave the answer and gave the explanation behind it, it was like, holy shit, this dude knows his history.
It was from a documentary I watched.
Yeah.
Just some YouTube documentary.
When we talk about symptoms of PTSD, there's a few symptoms that are results, I guess, whatever symptoms and results that are more prevalent in the majority of PTSD sufferers, and that's anxiety, anger, and depression. So, did you see any that come to the surface, or did you see any of that when you were growing up? You know, anxiety, anger, depression type stuff.
Well, we were just talking about paranoia.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That.
And did that transfer? So the whole transference thing comes into play here as well too. So, when I know when you were going through all that bullying and stuff like that, and then you got transferred over to Baker and everything, and yeah, you can say some of it was part of the bullying and stuff like that, but I mean, you remember that sheet. Now, you did some stupid shit back then too. So, and that's all. I chalk all that up to being a kid and everything too, and there was a lot of crap going on in the world when you were growing up as well too. So. And they were looking at bullying differently, and I don't, you know, we can talk about that all day and everything, but as far as the anger goes, you were an angry kid. As far as, you know, what I saw, and I think you had talked to me about it a few times along the way as well too, that, you know, you kind of chalked it up as like, yeah, I was really angry, did some stupid shit and everything. And do you think that, I know the divorce didn't help, because that's kind of when things went way sideways and stuff like that. But Do you see any of that growing up? What kind of stuff did you see? How did that affect you?
Anger?
Anger, depression, anxiety. I don't know if you saw anxiety or anything like that. But I know you saw, I can go out on a limb and say you definitely saw anger, depression, and anxiety. I don't know. We might have, at least I might have kept that kind of wrapped up. But I know I was pissed off a lot, and I took it out sometimes on you guys. But
well, yeah, that. I can kind of tell sometimes when you're depressed.
Yeah. Now or back then?
All the time. I can just feel it. But what's the question?
I don't know. How did that affect you? And did any of that transfer over to you now that, you're in your 20s now? So, I mean, does that affect your daily life? If it did transfer over?
I think that any type of problems like that I would have wouldn't be like a result directly of just seeing it in you. I think it would be like other problems specifically. Is that your question?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about like where problems would have came from?
I know how you deal with stuff. Was that something that you learned growing up, or that you developed that yourself? Or I all these questions can be geared towards both me and your mom, because you did have a pretty good relationship with your mom. So, and I'm not going to go over any of her issues or whatever, because that's not what this is about. But in general, the whole veteran PTSD type stuff, did that affect you growing up? All these questions are kind of geared on you growing up. How did all this affect you?
Well, the PTSD wasn't like a problem until like recently with you. I didn't even know that it was a thing. So I can't say that it did.
You don't have to say PTSD though either. You can say some of the symptoms of PTSD, like I said, are anger, depression, anxiety, moods, the OCD type stuff that we do. That is, I can say, looking at it, that most of it's pretty ridiculous, but it just, if we don't do some of those things, then the anxiety grows as well too, and that's probably why a lot of us do those things.
Well, I think that stuff like paranoia and like I guess hypervigilance are the same thing, are things that did come from that, but like other things, anxiety, depression, anger, are things that I might have developed on outside of that.
On your own?
Yeah. I can't think of a way how that would have, because all the times you got angry, it was usually because I did something, even though you got pretty angry sometimes. It wasn't just like for no reason.
But do you think some of those things were just lashing out because of that, or?
Mom definitely has a bigger problem with that than you do.
What's that? Lashing out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's had a bigger problem with that. That might have affected me a little bit, but you not as much. Not as much.
No. I always thought I was pretty hard on you, but.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
All right. So, I mean, now that we're talking about your mom and everything like that too. Well, we're not diving in too much to it, but we're going to get into relationships now. Your mom and I got divorced when you were 8. Rebecca was 10. So that happened, and I know that through a monkey wrench and everything. But as far as, all that happened, what were you just talking about? The depression, PTSD, anxiety, all the rest of that, anger. How does this affect you in your relationship now that you're older?
What?
Do you see any patterns in the relationships that you have now?
With other people?
Yeah.
Yes, and I see patterns for sure. I see them as generational curses. Maybe not curses, but like generational patterns, I guess. And I try my best to identify them and try my best to break them, because I try not to carry on the same type of problems over and over and then give my kids the same problems. But yeah, I definitely do see that.
Yeah. And that's, I think you're talking about as well, about grandpa as well too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured that you were going into. So, yeah. And my dad and my mom kind of stayed together because that was just the thing to do, I guess. I don't, he's no longer with us, so can't ask any of those questions. Can ask my mom, your grandma, but I'm not going to put her through any of that stuff anymore. So yeah. She's kind of on the older end, but yeah, the same kind of stuff. The anger. I remember my dad being like freaking out of control sometimes when it came to anger, and that was because of the environment that he was in at work. And I'm not going to go over all that, but he ended up working for a friend, which I always tell everybody is a mistake. After he got laid off from the big company that he was working, that he was happy with. So, and then just everything went downhill from there. And he was a veteran as well too. I want to say that of the Army. So, yeah. And then before he died, he was going to divorce my mom, your grandma. That never happened because he died before that happened. But yeah, I remember that back in the day when you were 8, Rebecca was 10, and we told you and everything like that, and then everything kind of went sideways as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if you view it the same way, but
told me what?
That we're getting divorced.
Yeah, I mean, are you saying that affected me? Of course it did.
Yeah. But as far as how we handled it after that, I think, because it got pretty ugly after that for a long time. Even to this day, it's not ugly anymore. But I mean, yeah, there's still some weirdness about it. And it's been, I don't know how many years now. But as far as how all that went, and then the aftermath of all that, the anger, I'm sure there was anger, anxiety, depression, all the rest of that stuff that got kicked up. I know it did with me. I don't know about your mom, but you had to have seen all that. And I'm saying, how did that affect your relationships? And you say you try to catch a lot of stuff. What are the things that you try to catch?
What are the things?
Mm-hmm.
Relationship patterns.
Yeah.
That's the main one.
What's that?
That's the main one.
No, I know, but I mean, as far as like what, getting angry, or like getting in a rut, getting depressed.
Getting in a rut and depression. Like I said earlier, I think those are external things beyond like this. I don't think that you caused that. I think that's completely different. What was the question again?
I think I'm trying to get out of you, like, if there's any, what affected you, and how it affected you, how that spanned up until now, I guess. Right? How does it affect you now?
Well, how does what affect me?
Well, all that stuff, as far as relationships go, you've seen how everything went with me and your mom, and then the after effects of that, because I think after that my PTSD started to get worse. Because then I got laid off from the job that I had. It's probably good that I left that job anyway. It was getting ridiculous, but now I don't do a 9 to 5 anymore either. So, and I think hopefully that's one of the good things that I taught you, is to do some stuff for yourself, work for yourself, instead of, the 9 to 5 with other people. And I think you've taken that to heart, because that seems to be the way you're kind of going.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where that part of my mindset came from. But yeah, that's definitely true.
No, because I see you doing a lot of entrepreneurial type stuff, or wanting to do that, or at least having some ideas about it and what you want to do. You're still young, so
I don't know. I think I chalk that more up to just understanding the scam of the system we live in, and it's all bullshit anyways.
Yeah, I agree. As far as the military and everything goes, and your interest in that, I mean, do you want to say anything about? I know you had a lot of stories about the Civil War when we went to Gettysburg and stuff like that. So that was cool. But you're still interested in a lot of that stuff and everything. And
I'm interested in history, of course.
yeah.
Are you talking about history specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Always been into history. I think everybody should know about history.
Yeah.
Especially the country you live in.
Yeah. I know you knew a lot about the coins and stuff like that as well too.
Well, coins are just cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Collect coins. They're cool. I mean, lots of them are silver.
Do you think, now that you're bringing up that, do you think you got any of your, I remember you growing up, you were very motivated by, you wanted to earn your own money, right? I remember you going out and collecting cans. There was all kinds of stuff that you would do, and when you did something, you did it fully in, right? You collected cans. The coins used to go back and forth to Tops over here like 1,000 times. The cashiers knew you, and go and get different rolls of coins and stuff like that, looking for certain coins and different stuff like that. You did sea glass at one point. We did a whole bunch of smelting with remember the metals and stuff that we that kind of stuff. You had a whole bunch of collectibles. You collected watches and clocks at one point.
Not really. I didn't collect watches.
There was a bunch of stuff. The Thomas's Train stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So once you got into something, you were very, you had not tunnel vision, but like just spot on. Like I don't know what you'd want to call it. You're very determined to do the best or that you could with that, and make money on your own, buy the things you wanted to. You'd come with bags and bags of cans and take them and do your own thing. Put them in the machine type. And this is when you were like, I don't know, 12, right? Yeah. Riding around the neighborhood and stuff like that on your 10-speed.
I remember that.
So, do you think any of that kind of stuff, the drive, I guess, your motivation, your drive, came from either me or Mom, or is that just you being you?
I don't think I would say that came from you or Mom. I think that came mostly from just my mindset. I can't. I mean, maybe there might be some parts that came from you, because you would. So we would sometimes talk about the system, and you work in a slave 9-to-5 job, and how much it sucked. But I think it mostly came from just my mindset. I don't know. It might also be autism, when you get like really tunnel vision on some, which it could be a good thing, because it makes you focus like Adderall on something.
Yeah, and you still do that to this day, pretty much, right?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, even with the music stuff and everything. So, final thing. Do you think the advice that I gave you along the way, any advice that you can think of, do you think that helped or hindered some of the advice that I gave you? Was a good advice about, I don't know, the advice that a dad gives to his son, right? And you think of anything that stands out, or, was it good advice? Was it bad advice? Was it be like, geez, I'm never going to fucking give this advice to my kids? That's some fucked up advice. But, or was it, in the end, did it make sense? Well, not in the end, but you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, there's things. I can't think off the top of my head anything bad. I know there definitely was, but I just can't think of it. I can think of one piece in particular that I still remember to this day. When we were, I don't know, it was years ago, we were in Mighty Taco, and I was just talking about like how, like the things that I actually wanted to do and the things I wanted to pursue in my life, and you told me to pursue them and not just just do what everybody else does, and you kind of supported my my ambitions. So that I remember this day specifically.
Right. So good. Anything else that you can think of, or?
It would take me some time to think. I can't think on the spot like that.
What about in school, that kind of advice? What do you think you would change about that advice? Because I know he gave you the advice of, and I think I was overcompensating for what happened to me when I was growing up about the bullying and stuff like that, and because you look back on that stuff when you get older, and a lot of times I say, man, I wish I'd freaking just beat the shit out of this, just a couple guys, So I think I overcompensated with you on that and say, if you get bullied, just freaking punch him in the throat and down his ass and, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So, do you think that was good advice, or do you think you'd probably give your kids different advice?
I don't know what I would give my kids. I definitely wouldn't tell them to run away from problems. I don't know. I think it was a radically different perspective when I was in middle school versus when I was in high school, because I remember in high school, at the end of high school, there were some times where kids would start to try to bully me, and I would just shut it down instantly without fighting. Like people would say some stupid thing, and I'd say some like 10 times stupider thing back to them, and they shut up. Which I think if I just embodied that in middle school, I think I would have had a way easier time.
Yeah. No, it's the tools that you have to work with then.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right.
Can't think of it.
Yeah. So what would it take? Last thing, what would it take to get you to close the shower curtain when you're done taking a shower?
I didn't know you wanted that.
I've told you that 1,000 times now already.
Close the shower. It's always open when I walk in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's because you leave it open.
I'm not the only one that uses it.
Yeah, I always close it though, so it's just me and you.
I guess now I know that. I'll close the shower curtain from now on.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to get off your chest or anything? All right, cool. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, I'd like to thank my son, Zach, for sitting down and talking with me today. That concludes the Children of PTSD Part 2 with my son, Zach. Part 1 was with Rebecca. That was a previous episode done before the end of last year. So we're back on schedule again. And if you like the content, please subscribe to the YouTube channel of the podcast. All right. Thanks for watching.